Welcome, Hades here. In this video, I'm going to be going through some stuff that really helped me with getting good at drawing heads, and that would be limiting myself to drawing heads within 5 minutes. Right, so the reason I do that is because I want to have most of the process of drawing a head just be almost intuitive. So I'm not thinking about so many things, and I'm allowing myself to discover a process for myself that I can use to draw heads, right? So it's like I look at a reference photo or whatever, and I can be like, okay, that's there, let me get all those down, and then, you know, I have most of the head drawn. And all that's good for is, well, you know, getting good at heads in general, but just help you understand what is important for me to put down on the page or canvas to get this thing looking almost finished. You don't want to spend too long drawing heads while you're learning. You know, you might sketch a head and then you'll just be on that head trying to get the eye in the perfect place, or the ear, the nose. It's not the best use of your time. And to make things even worse, you might do a sketch and then you might be rendering it beyond what is necessary. Unless, you know, rendering is your goal in that particular moment. But if you're not good at drawing heads and just having solid structure, just being more efficient, then I'd really recommend timing yourself. So before I do that, I'm going to talk about things that I think about when I need to draw, well, when I'm trying to draw a head within 5 minutes. Right, and that's strictly 5 minutes. I'm not going to go over. I'm going to use this app, just a drawing app, and you can see the time on the top. So if time's over, then we just move on to the next head. And what I've done is I just grabbed, I made a Pinterest board for the 100 heads challenge that I did on my Discord. So I just took that and downloaded all the photos, put it in a folder. The reason that will probably be better if you have this app or something similar. If there are heads that you didn't manage to finish within 5 minutes, you know, if you put them in a folder and just cycle through these photos, you're gonna end up drawing that head again. And maybe next time you do it within 5 minutes, even with plenty of time to spare. So if I do have time to spare, I'll start adding some light indications of shadows. Right, so for this one, just in under the brow ridge or just under the neck, not much there. You know, if you've got a minute or two left after getting everything else down, feel free to use that time to render or just move on to the next head. Another benefit of doing heads within 5 minutes is you get a mileage, and you know, you could have a half an hour session and you got 6 heads, right? Maybe you're even faster, maybe you get 7 or even 8. But yeah, let me talk about what I am thinking about a lot of the time. And so I've got these skulls here. You know, I recommend learning the skull, right? Just getting used to drawing it from different angles. It doesn't have to be detailed, just get the perspective right and get these features that I'm going to mention in the right place, roughly. Okay, and there's no need to like remember where this thing is or where this divide is, or I don't know if that's just part of the model, but it's not necessary. Like, I don't need to know that this is like that. Not necessary. Unless, you know, you are drawing a skull as your artwork, and then maybe you might want that. Even then, you know, just design it. I mean, it's pretty cool design already, but yeah, so you've studied the skull. So here's what I think about when I'm drawing a skull. So let's start from this angle. Okay, so first of all, if you see my head sketching video that I did not too long ago, you'll see that I always start with like an oval. So that oval is actually just me roughly placing down the cranium. Alright, so that's just me trying to capture this. Okay, so from a side view it's going to be at its largest, but then from a front view that's going to be narrow. Okay, so just how wide that is, like if it's wide like this, then I'm closer to the side view, but if it starts getting more narrow, then I'm getting to front view or back view. So yeah, it's almost like an egg shape. So I've gotten used to drawing that from different angles and whatnot. Okay, so you've got that down. What else I like to do is that I will, all these things I'll try and draw. No, I will draw when I'm doing these 5 minutes these 5-minute heads. So you get this down, right? And then what I like to do is I kind of treat the face as like a curved line. So I'll do that, right? And then I might just try and find where the jaw is, and then that's like a good base. And then from here, I'll roughly place where I think the brow ridge will go and where the base of the nose will go. For me, those are quite important, just for getting the general placement of the features correct and establishing some perspective while I'm there as well. Of course, in the other video I didn't really do that because I've practiced this so much that I'm just kind of doing it in my head. So, but as I'm doing these, you'll see. So I get that. So base of nose, brow ridge, very useful for establishing the perspective. Yeah, once I've got those, let me bring that back. I'm doing a side view in particular. It's like the same recipe, like the same formula every time. So like I'll start by drawing the forehead, but then I know the brow ridge sticks out, right? I mean, obviously that depend on person to person, but I've got the forehead and I know the brow ridge sticks out. So I'm gonna do that, right? Even if it's not exactly what I see in the reference, I just know that's there because I've studied the skull, right? I've got that. Then I know it goes in, right? And then I've got the nose like this, and then what's it called? Cartilage, like all this area. I've got that. And then that takes me to the base of the nose. And then I've got the lips, which come out and then go in. And then they come out. And then go in. And it comes out. And it goes in with the chin. Right, very, it's just, if I remember that, it's always just going to be the same thing. Right, unless that maybe the mouth is, you know, there's an expression or whatever. But even still, it'll all be the same stuff. It's just, you know, you'll have space here for the mouth being open. Okay, so I'll say that again. You got forehead, brow sticks out, then we go in. What is that called? I can't remember, but you can see it here. And then nose comes out. You've got the cartilage, right? It's going to be different shapes for different people. And then just under the base of the nose, it's sort of roundish. And then, you know, we make our way to the top lip. That, you know, has, well, it depends how you want to stylize it. But in general, you can have that motion. And then the bottom lip has a similar but opposite motion, right? So upper lip, bottom lip, again, it's going to be different for different people. Then we go in again, and then we come out, and then we go back in, and then we make our way to the jaw. So that's a side view. So if you can remember that, I'm always just doing this. That's why I can get away with not as much construction, because as long as I can do this and roughly get the proportions right, and so yeah, just remember all of this. Out, in, out, in, out, in. Right, and you'll just see it just repeats itself over and over again. Okay, so you got some kind of 3/4 view. We're gonna have the same thing going. So I will first rough in the cranium. Right, so compared to side view, it's not as wide, but it's not as narrow as front view. Right, and the tilt, this tilt is telling me that the head is looking up, right? Or maybe you could even change perspective, and it could be, you know, you could have the head here even. Right, that would also work. But it's giving you some information, whether it's you know, this or the other one I just drew. Yeah, so as I did with this one, where I drew a long line for the front of the face. Do that here as well. Just establish where I'm gonna draw my features and make sure they taper inwards. Right, I don't want them to be straight unless you know you're going for a stylized look and your face shape has that going on. Yeah, so we've got that, and then I'll do it on the other side as well. So I'll roughly just guess where this is. I'll come down to the jaw down here, make my way here, and I'll just rough that out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Oh, another thing I should mention as well, we've got the side of the head. So if you're doing some kind of view that's not side or front view, you can roughly divide the head into how much of the side am I seeing, how much of the front am I seeing, right? And the way I do that, I actually did that in my skull video, I think part 1. I don't think I explained what I was doing there. So what I was doing is I'm just finding the brow and then I'm just dividing it. So it's like, okay, I'm seeing this much of the front of the head and then this much of the side of the head. So in this case, that divide is about 50-50, right? Because it's like a perfect 3/4. But you know, if you've got a different angle, then you know the divide will be different. The ratio will be different. Right, once you get to full side view, it's just all this. When you get to full front view, it's just all this. So it's just a balance of how much of the front am I seeing, how much of the side am I seeing, right? And that can help you with proportions as well. I mean, I am talking a lot about proportions, but in 5 minutes, you gotta give yourself a break. It's not gonna be perfect in 5 minutes. You're gonna mess up, but that's completely fine. Yeah, so you can have this divide here, and then like I did with the other one, I've got I'll mark out where the brow is, right? That's perspective line, and then the base of the nose, and then that helps as well. The reason I think I'm gonna do as well is for the nose, what I want to try and do is just draw a triangle for the nose as well, so I can connect it to the brow. I might do that sometimes. Right, well, I'll do it when I'm drawing the heads, but a triangle, a very simple triangle. But base of nose, eyebrows, brow ridge, yeah, that might be it. Just for the very base of this. But then I'll lightly erase. And then for the side, for this sort of angle, so if we come closer, again, I have my forehead. Right, you can see the forehead is quite curved, but just pay attention to the reference. So we've got the brow ridge, it's coming out. All right, yeah, we've got the brow ridge coming out, and then we've got the cheekbone that comes out. We're gonna come. So as you can see on the skull, right, there's a lot of space. Right, there's all this empty space. Well, let's look at the front view. Right, like all this area is like just empty, right? So that's filled by other stuff that I don't know the name of. Yeah, that's empty on the skull, but for an actual face, right, you've got, you know, fleshy stuff going on there. So, if you see in my other video on drawing heads, or the facial features, when I talk about drawing the mouth, I kind of think of it as like a muzzle, and it's like it goes around, right? It's not just this flat thing on the skull. So when I'm coming to this point, depending on the person, what you'll see is you'll kind of see like it comes out a bit, right? Again, it depends on the person. And then, so yeah, we'll have forehead, brow ridge comes out, then we're basically here, and then from there we've got the cheekbone sticking out, and then from there we've got like the mouth sticking out, right? Again, observe the reference. It might be quite obvious or it might not be, but it does come out somewhat, right? And then we're coming in, so if we look closely, the chin, right, the chin here, or the part of the skull here, has this going on, right? So again, that may or may not be exaggerated, but you'll see, you know, you might see that, or it might just be quite smooth to this point, to the chin here, and then we'll have this, and then you make your way to here and here, and whether that's defined or not will depend on the person. But yeah, this, and then the chin. It's almost like there's like an overlap when you get to that part. I wonder if I've done that. Oh, perfect example. Alright, so let's have a look at that on this head sketch that I did. Oh, and the brush I'm going to be using, I usually not use this brush, right? It gets dark real quick. Like, there's no, like, this is me being really light with the brush. But normally it's just like, it goes dark really quickly, and it's not the best for sketching, because it kind of starts to not look good if you start like overlapping lines on it. But I actually like that because it just kind of forces me to, it's like drawing with a pixel brush. Like, it's just, it is what it is. There's no opacity, and then that helped me a lot. But anyways, the brush I'm going to be using, you can get yourself, it's going to be this one. I think I modified it a bit, but I don't think I modified it too much. This is from Ahmed Aldori's brush pack. It's the elliptical brush, so that's what I've been using. It's actually kind of weird for me, given that I normally use brushes like this. The ones that get dark quite quickly. That's just my preference. But yeah, if you want to use the same brush as me, go down, note that brush pack. You can make it yourself if you know how. Okay, so, oh yeah, I was gonna talk about this. So, remember what I just said here? Your forehead, brow ridge comes out, cheekbones come out. Right, so the connection here, sometimes I just leave a gap when I start to draw the cheekbone. But I don't know if you can see there's like a break in the line here. But from afar, you just look quite seamless. But yeah, I'll do that, and then once I get down here to the mouth area, to the muzzle, I know it sticks out, right? It sticks out, right? It sticks out. So yeah, cheekbone, and then it sticks out depending on the person. It'll stick out a different degree, and then you come down to the chin, and then the chin might be prominent. There might be a prominent, you know, it might have that going on, but it might be quite smooth. But yeah, let's see that on this. So yeah, I've got the forehead, then I came out for the brow, and with the cheekbone, and then you can see for the mouth, right, I have come out. I mean, the pen is light, so it's not as obvious, but I've come out for the muzzle, and then at the chin, I did that, right, and I have that pattern in my brain, so sometimes I don't even look at the reference. I just know that's already what the case is going to be. I just have to make sure I get the degree of it correct, like how much does a brow ridge stick out, or the cheekbone stick out, or this muzzle stick out, or how prominent is this part here. Like, is it really prominent, or is this transition more smooth? So having this in mind speeds things up. Yeah, once you have these sort of tricks in your head, you'll be able to draw faster, whatever it is that you're doing. You can see the light underwork. I've got the cranium, and I've got just a very dynamic line for the side of the face that's furthest from us. Then I'll roughly mark out where do I think the brow ridge is, and then where's the base of the nose. And that'll help me kind of establish some perspective, and if I can, I'll try and just draw a triangle nose of some sort. Right, all that stuff is, I'm going to lightly erase it. It's just going to be underneath, just to guide me. I don't use it anymore, but I want to use it so you can see how that works. So let's look at well, this is the same view, but a bit of a different angle. So I like getting the shape, I rough it out, so it's a nice curve for the further side of the head. Oh, another thing I used to do is sometimes I get the top side as well, with a curved line as well, and then I might just draw this shape. It's a nice shape. It's a dynamic shape, right? It's kind of tapering this way, so that works well. So, well, I guess another thing you can mark, as well as the brow ridge and the base of the nose, is also the chin. Yeah, I do that as well. So, yeah, you've got this, so roughly, okay. And then I roughly mark that, and I mark this, and then, well, I guess the reason I like using the nose is because it's on the center line, and it sticks out, so it's a good way to establish some perspective. Yeah, so you can also draw a center line as well, roughly placing it, right? You're not trying to get it perfect in 5 minutes. It's just not going to happen. And then roughly mark out the jaw, and then you have like a rough base for your head. So I like to taper it in as well. Again, this is all rough, so it's not going to be in the final thing. But yeah, if I just erase that, now I'm going in, and the forehead, brow ridge sticks out. There's a little gap there, well, not much, but here's where the eyes are going to be. Right, and from this angle, the eyes, if they, well, depending on the person, if they kind of protrude out of it, for this person, it might hide this part of the face. But from there, cheekbones come out, and particularly in this angle, I think from this angle you'd see the lips, and we might not even see this part, like from here to here, might not be visible. But you know, it should stick out, and then you come to the chin, and then you've got you know, all that going on. So it's the pattern just repeats itself. Doing this, depending on the angle, we might see this, and then we draw the chin. I'm just doing that over and over again. So yeah, all these techniques are just for getting the majority of the head down, right? So already established where the nose and brow are going to be early on, and then by doing all this stuff, we're establishing the overall shape of the head as well. So yeah, sometimes I might not actually draw that straight away, I might just draw part of it, but I also want to get this as well, and I might want to draw the nose in the right place as well. So the nose, again, very helpful. If I'm looking at the nose, and I'm trying to look at how far is the tip of the nose to the side of the face that I can see, right? So if I use this as an example, like if I'm looking at the ref, I'm looking at, okay, here's the tip of the nose. How far is that from the side of the face in that position, right? If I can get that correct as well, that's going to help a lot. Right, so I've established where the base of the nose is. I've established here. Now if I can just establish where the tip of the nose is relative to the side of the face, that's also going to help a lot with getting the proportions correct within such a short time. Yes, so the other thing I want to show that I use for the base is, no, I think that's it. Yeah, so just remember these patterns that I've shown you. They're just you're gonna see them over and over and over and over again. Unless something maybe is covering them, a beard. Like this fella has, kind of ignore the stuff going on here. You can roughly see the bottom of the lip. But yeah, I mean, if you can get this down, you know, it's because I was saying it's going to help you with drawing without reference, right? Because you already know what kind of pattern that we normally see, and then you can just play around with those proportions. Yeah, so in the front view, I think it's probably the hardest for me actually. But okay, with front view, draw the cranium, right, as a circle. Don't get too caught up in the circle. I mean, I'm drawing on a big screen, so I have the luxury of you know, using my whole shoulder. And if your screen is smaller, it might not be as easy. So, or if you're doing it on paper. Yeah. So, front view, map out the brow ridge roughly, base of nose, chin, and then what you can do is, yeah, just try and get the shape. We know that the cheekbones stick out, right? So make sure you've got those sticking out. Or what you might see is, well, from this point, I mean, you got the ear here as well, so that's going to contribute to the shape as well. But yeah, but for this part of the face over here, what I like to do, so it sticks out. I know it sticks out here, so I'm looking for the cheekbone, and when I get there, then I'm looking for the corner of the jaw. So that's you know, that's this bit here. I'm looking for that. Again, when you say the skull, you're gonna know where things should roughly be, and that is super helpful, right? So I know that this, well, this has there's a tilt, but I know it's gonna line up with the mouth. Well, let's see if I can get, yeah. So this part roughly, well, with the, I guess the break of the lips, which you can't see here, but I know that roughly they're very close, so I can use that as a guide. Right? If I put this in place, I know my lips should be roughly there. If I put my lips there, I know my jaw should be roughly there. Right, and depending on the person, this is not going to be defined. Alright, it might be very smooth. I see cheekbone, I know it goes in, and then I'm trying to find where that is. Right, and then from there, I'll come down into, but yeah, I mean, like, I can't really think of a head right now. But yeah, from front view, I think, yeah, the thing that helps me the most is just getting the shape of the head. Yeah, it is quite difficult, but just getting this in place. I mean, sometimes it's quite hard to see, but if you study the skull, you know it's there. I can kind of help you, because you know from this point we're gonna start tapering in. So yeah, we've got those. There's not much else to say apart from, I guess, the way I like to simplify. Well, actually, let me bring up. So yeah, as always, look up Taco's notes. There's a lot of great stuff about proportion and ways you can simplify, you know, forms of the head. Yeah, there's lots of really good stuff in here. I can't go through all of it, of course, but yeah, have a look, especially at the, well, start off with the stuff that's in general for the whole head, rather than specific features, and then you can work your way towards those. I'd say, like you know, this one here, refers to that entire side plane of the head and the underneath the brow ridge. Or else that's going to be very helpful for getting the base down. So yeah, I thought this was quite interesting as well. Like the relationship of how much you can see underneath the chin versus how much you can see underneath the nose. That's actually quite cool. Well, when I'm drawing the base of the head, I might indicate that plane of the underside of the chin. Right, and you got another one here. Yeah, again, look how that nose really gives us a lot of information about the perspective. Yeah, so really the last thing is my choice of simplifications. Right, so these are just stylistic choices. So what I'll do, okay, so for the hair, if I'm doing hair, I just try and get the overall shape of the hair. That helps me get things down fast as well. I also, for the eyes, I normally just go for this shape. I'll just do that. Right, I'll do that a lot. And if you're trying to draw the form of the eye in like a minute, it's just, there's just too much going on. It's just not efficient to think in this way. right? And of course, all this is too much detail anyway, so just simplify it into this. And I mean, for me, I like the look of that. I don't feel like drawing the form of the eye every single time. But if you haven't studied the form of the eye, then do that first at least, so you know what's going on, and then you can come back and use the simplifications. Yeah, so eyes, you can see that I've done that here. Right, very simplistic with the eyes. Right, and where that peak is, I will just kind of estimate it on the eye that I'm seeing. Or even if it's wrong, it's fine. Right, if you've only got 5 minutes, so it's not all bad. And you'll notice that I don't draw the underside of the eyes. Right, like I don't draw this line, like, ever. I don't think. And the reason is, I'm thinking like a painter, right? So well, typically, what we see is you've got your head, you got your head reference, right? If you look at the bottom plane of the eyelids, right, that's normally in light. By not putting a line there, it helps me indicate that it's in light. So that's why I don't do it. Whereas the top is in shadow, right? Because that plane is facing downwards, right, of the eyelids. Like if you study the form, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that's the eyes. Eyebrows, really lazy. What I've been doing is, like, I'll just use a brush and I might just increase the size and then call out the eyebrow, right? And that will work. And if you've got time at the end, you know, you can make your brush smaller and then define the shape a bit more to your tastes. Okay, so we've got the nose. I always draw this. Well, given that it's in the right angle, I always draw this. Right, that also gives a lot of information as well. And then from there, I just try and get the shape of the nose that I'm seeing. Right, and you'll know that the nose has like 3 parts to it. Right, so I've got that underneath, that structure underneath my head. But instead of drawing all of these, I'm just thinking of the shape around it. Right, and so yeah, the way I draw a nose is, as you can see. And well, the nostrils I haven't really done much, but again, you can increase your brush size depending on what you need, and just see if you can get a stroke that kind of resembles the shape of the opening of the nostril. And in fact, let me go back to Taco. So there is one. Okay, so if you look at this one here that I've got my mouse over, right, so you've got the right side, you've got that center yellow part, then you got the part that's the other side of the nostril. So there are 3 parts. Well, actually it's like the same angle. So I've got this. Right, so that's the other part. And I've got my nostrils on the side, right? What I like to do is, of all these lines, I might just leave this part of it. Right, and well, actually that's what I did. It's just very light. So like I'll just do that as a simplification, and that on its own can just give the sense of the other nostril, and then maybe you might overlap it like that. Right, all I did was just 2 lines, and I mean I'd probably make the brush bigger, so I can to get the size of the nostril, rather than me kind of drawing the shape of the nostril, which you could do. I've got nothing against that, of course. But yeah, these are just my choices of simplification. And this side of the nostril, I sometimes draw, sometimes I don't draw. It just depends on what I think looks appealing for that particular head. But yeah, so nostril, I have these in mind, but I'm only thinking of the outside, right? And that might take quite a bit of practice. And if it helps, you can quickly draw out these 3 parts, and then erase, and then use that as a guide as well. Alright, and also from this angle, you might be able to tell. So this part here, right? I can kind of think of it as overlapping this part, right? So it's like, now I've got a T-line over here, right? Again, that also introduces information about the perspective as well. But in this case, I've almost just made it one line. Okay, when it comes to the mouth, I don't like to get too detailed. I'm just looking at the mouth. I'm looking for the darkest parts. Or if I can't really see something, I'll just kind of make it up, because I know what lips, what part is normally dark anyway. So it's the corners, and then the middle. Right, so you'll have that, but I don't like doing that every time. I don't like doing this every time, so yeah, minimize as much as I can get away with. But I'll put that there, Indicate some value for this, right? It won't necessarily be dark, but I'm thinking from a painter's perspective, as I do this, especially since I'm using a brush that where I can build up value. Whereas you saw in my other video, I was using this brush where it gets dark really quickly, so with that I have to be even more restrictive with where I choose to put my lines. Yeah, so again, there's also T-lines I can use. I think Cynics has a video on lips, he talks about T-lines in there as well. I can't remember. But you can have a T-line there that indicates depth. It's like this is on top and that's underneath, right? And that's for that middle fleshy part of the top lip. Right, so all this stuff that you're studying, it's all useful, and then later on you can decide what you don't care about, or what in terms of style, what you feel like discarding. Yeah. So I mean that's what's happened with me, right? I've got a lot of influences from anime and the way I think about shape. That's going to show up on these heads that I draw. Okay, so let's look about the eyes, the nose, the mouth. And I've discussed how this pattern repeats itself very often. Right, so that's something else you can check as well. Like, have you got the peak in the right place? Right, that might help you get a better likeness. Like some people, it might be super sharp, or it might be smooth. Right, again, just a good reference. Yeah, so cheekbone comes out, mouth, muzzle sticks out, and then we get down to the chin. Very, very common pattern. But yeah, feel free to mess up and do what I did, and just grab a bunch of photos of head drawings, and then just cycle through them for a bunch of sessions. I mean, I'm doing 100 quite a lot. Maybe you could just narrow it down to like, I don't know, 40 perhaps, so that you get to draw the same ones more often. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, so we're doing 5 minutes, strictly 5 minutes. So I might not talk much, just to try and get it get the drawing done within 5 minutes. But if you just remember all the stuff that I've talked about, we can speed up. Well, you can learn to speed up your head drawings as well. Right, so think about the silhouette. You've got all this for the side view. For a 3/4 view, you've got all of this. And yeah, for me, the front view's usually the hardest. But I know cheekbone is, I know where that corner of the jaw is, I know it tapers in, and then we've got this. Let me use my pen. I know it tapers in. I've got this. In most cases, front view is quite boring anyway. So in most cases, you're going to be drawing some kind of variation on 3/4. And yeah, if you're looking from a bottom view, make sure to draw the bottom plane for your construction. It's just good practice. But if it's slowing you down too much, you can just do it as a study on the side and then bring it back in afterwards. Alright, so yeah, not much else to say. I will just what do you think I'm gonna say about this? Not much really, but yeah, I am using quite a sketchier approach than I did with my other video. So I mess around with some values. Yeah, whatever time I have. So there are some heads I think might be quite hard to do in 5 minutes if you're not used to it. Like this one here. This might be a bit harder just because, you know, those tutorials, they're normally based on using models and stuff like that. So this might throw you off a bit, but it's good practice. Alright, so I've been talking too much. We'll get started. So just keep in mind all these little things that I think about, and then while you see me do it, I'll try and talk to it. Alright, just gonna go, let's go through it. I mean, I might skip some references just because I just want to use references that probably give the most learning value to you. Alright, so I think I'll try and do 10. Yeah, try and do 10 heads. Alright, here we go. Alright, moving on. Right. First one's not going to be great. It's the first one I've done today anyway. Ooh, that was difficult. Alright. I'll take a little break. And I'll kind of just talk about what I just did. Okay, so done 5, gonna do 5 more. I hope you've been okay with having them just be terrible. Like this one. Don't like it. I feel like the expression is too serious. So if I was to go back and clean this up, I'd make sure the expression is a lot better. But yeah, I mean, I got the angle of the head, so that's what I was at least happy with. And the features in roughly the right place, more or less. Again, I hope you noticed that I used everything that I was just talking about. Like, you see me doing this, right? The in and out, in and out, in and out. We got this. Just doing it all over again. And when I'm doing the shape of the hair, I'm just trying to think of the shape. I'm always drawing like long, curved lines, and that's just the way I draw. And even sometimes parts of it just look awkward. Like I remember drawing the eyes for this one, it was a bit awkward, but yeah. And then I realised at the end I forgot to draw the lips, but that's fine. 5 minutes. This one was very difficult, like that downward tilt. I think it turned out okay. Again, look at these hair shapes, just really long sweeps. Just keep the shapes nice and dynamic. Yeah, in pretty much all these cases, I've been sticking to the rule. I mean, this one, I just also head looks too small. The cranium looks too small. Which is fine. Again, 5 minutes. And then the other one I did. This was kind of awkward when I was drawing the eyes, because well, they were just eyeballs, but they're like iris. So that was kind of interesting. And then there's a lot of stuff going on with the hair, but I just tried to go because it had curly hair, so I was like, let me just use that curviness maybe to suggest parts of the hair. And yeah, it's been messy. Right, if you just do this in 5 minutes, you got plenty of chance to iterate, rather than just like trying to refine one drawing. Okay, let's get back to it. 5 more. Of course, in this head I can't see all this structure in the jaw, but I just put it there just because I know this. Well, the skull has structure, right? It's still there. Again, so look at the nose. See the tip of the nose? Look how close it is to the side of the face. So I'm going to try and capture that. And that's going to help a ton with just getting things in the right place. Because if one thing's off, then everything else... It's a lot easier for everything else to be off as well. Okay, awesome. Yeah, we're done. Yeah, so yeah, that is it. 10 heads, all within 5 minutes, and yeah, it's just really good practice. You know, after you're done, look back at your heads, and then, you know, if something's like, if there's a common theme, like you're doing this, like your noses are too small, or the heads are too small, or something's too big, blah blah blah, just look over that and try and make a note of it, and try and be conscious of that thing, and that'll also help as well. But yeah, this is also really good if you're like me and you like anime, and you know, you want to learn how to draw realistic heads, but you know, you're not really interested in rendering out all these specific details. This is also a good thing to do, because you know, you just learn how to draw heads fast, right? You just get the essentials, and that's what stylization is about. You know, looking at the ref and getting the shapes, the ideas, looking at things and deciding I'm gonna remove that element as part of my stylization. But yeah, in general, it just gets you to think faster. Yeah, there's not much else to say. If there's anything I missed, if there was anything that I was doing that I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, just let me know. And you know, do more videos on heads. Yeah, especially if you're on a Discord, I just read what kind of questions everyone puts up, and I use that for future video ideas, because some of you tell me, you know, I didn't get this part of it, and then, you know, I'll make more videos. So but yeah, I highly recommend doing this. Grab yourself some head references, set a timer, or if you got this app, they'll do all the work for you. Yeah, just go for it. It's a really good exercise. If you're not familiar with drawing the facial features, you could just do a Loomis head and then just reduce the timer to like 1 minute. That'll also be good until you learn how to draw the facial features. But yeah, I really like this timed drawing exercise. Really good challenge to see how efficient you are with your lines and whatnot. But anyways, I hope that was useful. If it was, well, let me know. If something was confusing, also let me know. And feel free to post in the Discord. We have a community critique channel, and then either me or someone else can give you feedback. But yeah, that'll be all. Until next time. Bye bye. Yeah, as you're doing this, remember your goal is not to get a perfect copy, right? Just get that out of your head. You can't do that in 5 minutes. If you do want a perfect copy, then this approach might not be for you. Give it a go. It's good stuff. But yeah, you're not trying to get a perfect copy, and just don't be too hard on yourself. If they look terrible, it's okay. I used to do this like every day. Do like 10 heads a day. I was basically doing Ahmed's 100 heads challenge all the time. But yeah, just you know, create a new canvas, call it 5 minute heads, just like I have, and just daily. If you got time for 5 heads, 25 minutes, perfect. If you got 10 heads, 50 minutes. But yeah, just keep it going, and make note of your mistakes. But yeah, that's all. Take care.